Welcome to the Man Cave Podcast with Dan Casper.
1 week from today is the Major League Baseball trade deadline, and you have your Milwaukee Brewers, number one in not the National League, but the entire Major League win percentage. Number one in sole possession first place in the NL Central. But will they make a move to maybe stay, hold that status as number one, try to get a little bit better, or will they kind of stay the course right now? Which is kind of interesting because I don't know if you've seen this or heard this either, Brandon, but like in the last few days, we threw out a question earlier in the week. You're starting to hear more people saying, well, maybe we don't want to mess with the chemistry that's kind of rolling with the team right now. And I guess for me, that's where I put a lot of trust in Pat Murphy, the clubhouse leadership and such, because I think what would screw up the chemistry is if it was a similar like Josh Hader trade. Right.
You're not trading someone significant, like someone that's a cornerstone.
Right.
And he was. And people say, well, that, that happened, they did that. It's like, yes, they did. I go, number one, I think everybody involved learned from it.
Yep.
Number two, even though, who knows what would have happened in 2022 if they didn't, because obviously I think they were in first place and then they weren't, but I don't know. Like the 2022 team always still had odd vibes to me. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know. Like that still might have happened anyway.
Right.
But I mean, this team is, there was obviously the rumblings at one point about like Freddie Peralta.
Right.
And that I don't see that happening. I do think they learned.
Yeah.
And those are the type of moves you make in the offseason.
And that to me would be worse than Hader.
I think so. Yeah.
You want to talk about really messing up chemistry and stuff.
I don't see that happening.
Yeah.
I would be very surprised.
Especially if you're a first place team.
Right. And not just a first place team, like best team in the majors.
Right.
And that was always kind of the thing, and that's why this year is a little bit different is in the last few years when the Brewers the Brewers have been, around this spot around their deadline, they've been in first place in the Central. Mm-hmm. But they haven't been they've still been the third seed. Like the last 2 years when they won the division, they've still been the third seed for the playoffs. Mm-hmm. So it's like they were good, but it was kind of like, okay, but they were the best of not a super great lot in the NL Central. That's not the case this year. The Brewers and the Cubs, there's no top two teams in any division that are better right now than the Brewers and the Cubs.
Yeah.
So it's legit. It's a bit 2018 where obviously we all remember Game 163, but
you were there too.
But people kind of forget that was for also the top seed in the National League.
Right.
The Brewers had home field advantage.
Yep. So, Game 7 with the Dodgers was in Milwaukee.
Right, and bumped down the Cubs to a wild card spot. So that matters. Mm-hmm. So, and that's just a little different. So,
yep.
But
should we jump right into it?
Let's go for it. Yeah.
So this is a trade kind of primer. Brandon's
just
worked
some guys
on.
I kind of think that they should have their eye on for one reason or another. Mm-hmm. And there's, like I said, there's not very many names, and for the most part, this is focused around bats because. You could. There's some spots obviously you were able to kind of eliminate. I don't think the Brewers are probably going to be in the market for a starter. You never know with them, but I think that's something we can probably all agree on. That and there's a lot of if you look at anyone's any writers their list of the top 50 names for the trade, a lot of them are starters, and that's just not something right now the Brewers probably need.
Right.
So there's a lot of those that the Brewers probably won't be involved in. Other teams like the Cubs probably will be.
Yep.
As far as my position players go, I basically have two categories. I have one category called beef,
okay,
and one category called versatility.
Okay,
beef,
I like that.
As you can imagine, power hitters, because this is something that obviously, kind of the discussion the Brewers could certainly use is a little bit more pop in the lineup. I mean, right now they're doing a good job of scoring runs without home runs, but it's you kind of want to diversify your offense a little bit. You want to be able to have that big strike ability. You don't want to build a whole offense around it, but the Brewers come into play today 25th in the majors in home runs. Otherwise, everything else, for the most part, their numbers are pretty solid. OPS is a little below average, but that's also a product of a bit of a lack of power. Mm-hmm. So, the first name, this is going to be the most popular name on the trade market, and that's Eugenio Suarez for the Diamondbacks. This is a guy that is having a great time to have a great year. Third baseman for the Diamondbacks. The Diamondbacks probably going to sell at this point. The Corbin Burns injury, they just, give them credit for spending money in the offseason as a, not powerhouse team, but it just hasn't worked. And they're going to have pieces that other teams are going to want. Third baseman, He's a free agent after this year, so the price might not be super exorbitant, but the fact that so many teams are interested is probably going to drive it up a little bit more too.
Mm-hmm.
But hitting .252 this year, .325 on base, OPS of .924, 36 home runs, 86 RBIs, and he is red hot right now. Like he is.
That price is probably going up.
Arizona's looking at that after every day and saying yes, because it's just bumping that up a little more because he is not only is he probably the most prominent bat that's realistic bat that's out there, but he's playing well right now.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to be in demand. I mean, that's just.
And does it factor in that the teams that are probably interested in him are Yankees and such that would be willing to probably spend a little bit?
I'm sure the Cubs probably are too because one of the rare kind of holes in their lineup right now is third base.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, this is someone that if he comes to Milwaukee, you immediately park him, fourth or fifth or wherever in the lineup, and that is someone that's providing power protection behind Contreras and Yelich and Churio and whoever, and he's someone that he can go and run.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's that guy that can just we're seeing he's doing it right now. And he's a veteran. Like that's a right-handed hitter, so it kind of complements maybe the other guys, and they're a little bit better. But he's someone that Now the thing I actually kind of, as I've had this in my head the last few weeks, I've kind of, for the most part, kind of gone away from some third basemen just because of how well Caleb Durbin's done. Mm-hmm. And now, you're 2 months, you're getting a pretty decent sample size to see that, over the last month, over the last 2 months, he's hit pretty well. He's hit over 300.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like, well, where else do you look to the offense then? And the place I looked was first base, but specifically a left-handed hitting first baseman, someone that's going to play against righties. I mean, the Andrew Vaughn story has been fun. It's been great. Like, he's still, I think, someone that's in the mix until Rhys Hoskins gets back. But I don't think you can just say, okay, Andrew Vaughn, write it in pen, absolutely do nothing to mess with that. Because, look, it's still been a couple weeks, and this is still a guy that's a few months removed from not being able to crack the lineup with the White Sox.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to, my feeling is if you want to platoon someone with Andrew Vaughn at first base, that's probably the way to go. Andrew Vaughn hits lefties pretty well, so you can kind of mix and match there. And there's two names I have here that are available, or that should be available, that I think could fit that spot really well and kind of bring some more pop to the middle of the lineup. The first one's Ryan O'Hearn from Baltimore.
Mm-hmm.
A left-handed hitting first baseman, can play the corners in the outfield too. All-star this year, hitting .280, .375 on base, OPS of .828, which I believe would be the highest. If he got dropped in the Brewers lineup, that would be the highest of anyone in the Brewers lineup.
Mm-hmm.
12 home runs, 36 RBIs, but he's patient. He's played a really good defensive first base too, which we know the Brewers like to prioritize defense as well. But he's a guy that should hit against righties. He's played more against lefties this year just because Baltimore's needed him to, but he's a guy that is much better against right-handed pitching, so you use him to his strengths. He's a guy, again, he's a free agent after the year. He can play some left and right field if you need him to, so that's, we always talk with the Brewers, like just the idea of this versatility.
Mm-hmm.
The other guy, and he's strictly a first baseman, but another one that's, could fit that same mold is Josh Naylor with Arizona. Left-handed hitting, they acquired him from Cleveland, I believe it was, after last season. A bit of a similar story with him, hitting .292, .360 on base, OPS of .810, 11 homers, 59 RBIs. Career .277, roughly the same numbers over the course of his career against righties. He's a lefty. He's, again, another guy that you can park fourth or fifth in that lineup, and he's going to just kind of extend your lineup a little bit, get you a little bit more of a power threat in there. Those are the two guys I kind of look to and say, okay, those are, if you want to take a good swing, I'm not saying this isn't a CC Sabathia, all the chips in the middle of the table kind of a thing, but I'm just not sure how many of those guys are out there. It'd be one thing if, for whatever reason, the Dodgers were selling and Freddie Freeman was out there or something like that. Like, those guys just probably realistically aren't out there. So, these are still, and some people might be a little underwhelmed, but no, these I think these would be kind of good potential moves.
Mm-hmm.
And again, for first base, the other category I really had was versatility. The Brewers value it. I think there's a way that, either of these guys, if they come in, you could still play them 2, 3, 4, 5 times a week, just bouncing around. Maybe it's you make a start at third, you make a start or two at shortstop, you make a start or two at second base, kind of a thing.
Mm-hmm.
A better version of what the Brewers did at one point with Hernan Perez.
Okay.
Where he played pretty much everywhere, but he's not. You don't necessarily have one designated spot. But and the first name, like for that reason, this guy might honestly kind of be the number one person on my list just for that very reason. That's Willie Castro from the Twins.
Ooh, okay.
He's played pretty much everywhere around the diamond, but pitcher and catcher, and not really first base either. But I'm sure he could. But he's had really good numbers since going to the Twins a few years ago. Roughly league average, both hitting righty as a righty and a lefty. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of helpful because you can kind of plug and play based on what you need. Pinned 257 this year, 347 on base, though a patient hitter, 778 OPS, which would rank him pretty high in the Brewers lineup. Can steal some bases, switch hitter, so he, you can kind of mix and match where maybe he plays a game at second base against a lefty for Bryce Strang, but then the next day he's playing a game at third base for Caleb Durbin, kind of a thing. Mm-hmm. And he's a free agent after the year, so he's not gonna, he'll cost some because he's a good player, but it's not like you're emptying the chamber, so to speak, for something like that.
Right.
But he's someone that I just really like, and I feel like that's kind of a bit more of a Brewers type move. Mm-hmm. He can play the outfield if you need him to as well. Just to give you a little bit more coverage there with someone you feel confident with. Mm-hmm. And the other one I have, and I don't know if this team is going to be inclined to sell because they're kind of on the margins, and look, this guy's a bit younger, so they just might not want to give him up, and I don't blame him. And that's Michael Garcia from Kansas City. He is someone that he was an all-star this year. Mm-hmm. But, depending on what they want to do.
That's the guy I think Jeff Passan listed as a fit for the Brewers in his latest one. Yeah. But he kind of mentioned it too.
They may not be inclined to move him because he's a younger guy. He's like 25 or 26. This has kind of been his breakout year, but it's been like incremental growth, so it's not like he just came out of nowhere. Mm-hmm. But he's hitting 291, 8 home runs, 41 RBIs, 19 steals. Gets on base at a pretty good clip, 788 OPS. So again, he's in that mix of he would be one of the best players in the Brewers lineup. He's someone that's played at least 9 games at second base, shortstop, and third base. So he's got a bit of that versatility too. Now he may have a little bit more of a case to get more consistent time somewhere, just because he's under team control through 2029. So what does that mean? You're going to have to pay him more to get him because he's younger. You'd have the potential of having him longer. And let's be honest, if Kansas City was going to be willing to deal him, they're looking for more. Mm-hmm. Because this is a guy that, look, they could just say, you know what, we want to keep him, we want to build with him, and obviously they got Bobby Witt Jr. at shortstop, so they're good there. But this is a guy we can play at second, we can play at short, or we can play at third. But he's a guy that again could make a difference. Hits lefties better than righties. There's a bit of more of a kind of a platoon split there, but a guy that would probably play every day for this team or close to every day. Mm-hmm. So those are kind of the main hitters I've been looking at. Bullpen, it was a little bit tougher because, there aren't, I wouldn't say necessarily a bunch of spots in the bullpen right now.
Right.
But it's something that, teams are always looking for another bullpenner. Mm-hmm. So I kind of looked at, even looking at the way the bullpen is set up now, it's like, obviously you got McGill closing. Uribe and Koenig are kind of the primary setup guys. Koenig seems like he can be a bit hot or cold at times. But Nick Mears, not going anywhere. Grant Anderson, he's someone that could get called up, sent down, but I think overall he's been good. There's been a couple blow-ups in there, but overall I feel like he's been pretty good. But I feel like if they brought in someone, he might be the odd man out just because. Aaron Ashby and DL Hall are 2 lefties, so I really like how they're being utilized right now. Mm-hmm. Kind of that multi-inning pitcher. And then obviously right now, kind of your long guy out of the bullpen, Tobias Myers, who pitched a couple innings yesterday.
Yep.
But if you went the lefty route, I tried to call it down to 2. Mm-hmm. And then righties I don't even really have because there's just so many right-handed relievers out there. Like if they got a guy, I'd be like, okay, that probably makes sense. Mm-hmm. But the 2 guys I brought up, one who I think would be very inclined for his team to move him would be Gregory Soto from Baltimore. He's got a long track record of success. Gets lefties out, throws hard, does walk some guys, so that could lead to some some headaches maybe for fans at times. And the other one, and this is a team that you said earlier, but we'll see what they end up doing. Cincinnati, Brent Suter.
Ooh,
Obviously Brewers fans are very familiar with him. He's
Raptor.
He's gone to Cincinnati and had a couple solid years there, continuing to do what he does. Not a big strikeout guy, but he gets guys out. He can pitch multiple innings. But is that a little bit redundant with what you have with Ashby and Hall? Maybe. But he's another guy that if the Reds end up selling, or they just decide to kind of buy and sell on the fly, is he a guy that's interested? I mean, obviously that's someone the Brewers know very well. You want to talk about chemistry and not upsetting the apple cart. Seems like he's the kind of guy that you could bring back, and people probably be excited to see him. So, and like I said, righties, I don't really have much in the way of right-handed relievers, just because there's so many that you could easily just say, okay, they traded for this guy. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. So, and that's kind of what I got for a list.
So let me ask you a few follow-up questions now, because I think one of the big questions is, what do they do? Or what should they do, like when Nestor Cortes comes back? Because I look at these sides. One, you keep him, and then you've got like that backup if you are watching the innings with Mizorowski and Woodruff and such, and then you kind of protect yourself. Maybe you got him coming out of the pen, which I think he did for the playoffs last year for the Yankees and such. Or you do a piggyback thing, so you protect yourself there. I mean, it's a weird situation because he's in a rehab assignment right now. We haven't seen him since April.
Right.
So, I mean, how much could you actually get for him? Do you just trade him for pennies on the dollar?
And that's I don't know if they would. I think just because of the situation you mentioned with having some guys that they're kind of watching the innings with. And obviously, a lot of people remember his first start at Yankee Stadium, which I'm just going to say was, kind of worst case. It was kind of like the Murphy's Law game where it seemed like if it could go wrong, it did go wrong that game. Which, man, does that feel like a long time ago already.
Yeah, it does.
But, don't forget, the only other start he made, he was actually pretty good in. So, and he's a guy that comes back, I'm curious to see what they do, but with Mizorowski, I do wonder if they kind of try to have him be more of a 3-4 inning guy. I don't say you use him out of the bullpen, but you kind of just knowingly kind of piggyback that way. So...
And the other part of it, too, is interesting because you mentioned them already, but you do have some guys in the bullpen that can eat a couple innings that have starting experience
and you can't
with that.
And that's the thing, you can't do that with everybody just because, if you do get a short start from a Freddie Peralta or something, you kind of, you can't plan too much ahead just because of the unknown. But, it's interesting, too, because you compare those guys together. It's, going from a Mizorowski, for example, to a DL Hall, you're going righty to lefty, they're different with how they do. I just think that dichotomy is really good because you're throwing two different pitchers out there, and you're forcing these managers. They can know this is coming, but okay, what do you do? Do you leave your lefty? Do you leave your righty out there to face Mizorowski? And righties have just had very little success against Mizorowski. Or do you say, okay, you know what? We know that he's only going to see him a time or maybe two through, so we'll keep our big lefty out there, but then knowing, okay, well, you've got DL Hall coming in the fifth inning. It's an interesting spot to be in. Right.
And then, we'll see on Woodruff. They kind of made it, he was so efficient the other night, 60 pitches through 6 innings.
But it seems like when they say there was a cramp or something.
Yeah.
That they were just kind of maybe saving him a little bit from himself. Okay, and that's fair.
Right.
But, that's another one. Because remember, he threw nothing last year. So it's, he's a few years removed from throwing, 200 innings or 180, whatever it was. But it's it's tough. It's like if you're a distance runner, but then you don't run for a while, you're not going to suddenly go out there and run 20 miles.
Right, exactly. So I'm curious what happens in the next week with I feel like it's trending they're going to keep Nestor Cortes.
I think so. And it'd be one thing if they could have gave him a start this weekend, and if he went out there and threw 6 scoreless, then maybe there would be a team that would say, hey.
Right.
But even still, the value, I just don't know. I think he may be more valuable to the team being a part of that group as opposed to being a trade chip.
And I hope that he would also realize the situation that, not the Aaron Savali where I've always been a starter, I want to be a starter. He's got to, I would hope, look at okay, look we're the top team in the majors.
Right.
The top 5, I will throw Quinn Priester in this because he has been awesome.
Right.
The top 5 guys have been awesome. I haven't pitched since April. You gotta have to understand this, and he is going to be a free agent next year anyway.
Right, and the thing too is, I want at some point, especially in that really long stretch in August, where it's 19 games in 18 days, whatever it is, would not surprise me to see them go to 6-person rotation. And I'm especially, and this is looking way too far ahead, but looking to that Cubs series where they play 5 games in 4 days.
Right.
Would not surprise me for one of those doubleheader games if you see Logan Henderson or you see Chad Patrick called up. Because remember, for the second game of that doubleheader, you can call you have an extra person on your roster.
That's right.
So, trying to keep people on some sort of schedule, like obviously when you're playing 2 games a day, that kind of messes that up a little bit.
Right.
And it might be an easy way to do that. But that's obviously, we can talk about that in a couple weeks. But, yeah, I just think that it's almost like that's almost a stretch where it's like, okay, we got to get through that. But I'm with you on that. Like, you would think that Cortez kind of understands that. Like, look, and especially when you look at what happened to Savali, it's like, look, you can, I mean, if you feel that way, that's fine, but, you want to go pitch for the White Sox?
Right.
Like, and it hasn't gone well for Savali there.
No.
Like, what do you want? And to give Nestor Cortez credit, last year he was kind of in a spot like that with the Yankees, and he went to the bullpen and he did everything he was asked, even though he was one of their more established starters. Like, he did what was best for the team in that spot, and he kind of got burned on it because people remember him, giving up the Grand Slam in the World Series. But it's like, but you're, it's a starter that's a reliever, and you're pitching extra innings, and it's just kind of like that happens. Like, it's like you're putting him in kind of a tough spot for a couple different reasons. And yeah, hey, I think who was it that hit the Grand Slam? I forget. Was it Freeman?
I think it was Freeman.
Whoever it was, like, okay, hey, you got. Like, but you also put him in a tough spot for that to happen. So
right.
Like, I feel like he would be, it seems like he would be maybe a little bit more likely to, like you said, kind of understand the situation, realize, hey, I'm on a team right now that's, got the best record in baseball. Like,
and the guys have been really good at the top.
Right.
I don't have a whole lot of, like, things to be complaining about and trying to push something to happen.
Right.
Now, the other thing I wanted to follow up with you on is, so position players, how much factors into how well Ortiz has been playing so fantastic defensively.
Yep.
He has gotten better offensively.
Right. It's not. I mean, he had a couple hits yesterday. Like, it doesn't look like such an automatic out that it has at times. And as anyone that's been watching this team all year, you've seen there's been a stretch where Ortiz up here like, oh my gosh, this guy's not going to hit out of the infield. But now at least, like, you feel like, okay, there's some good at bats in there, and you're right. That defense has been like, for the last couple weeks, seemingly, it seems like once a day he does something, you just go, whoa.
Right, exactly. And then you look at what Caleb Durbin has been doing offensively. And then you look at, Isaac Collins has been playing incredibly well offensively. So it's like, who do you take out of the lineup?
And that's the thing. Like, it's tough because you don't want to do too much to upset the chemistry. But at the same time, you also, I think you need to take advantage of the situation where you understand, like, hey, this is a golden opportunity here. Like, we have to, you have to get this team back. You can't. It would be kind of a double-edged sword. You can't say, well, we can't do anything to upset the chemistry, and then if the Brewers don't do something, say, oh, they're being cheap. Like,
right, exactly.
You can't talk out of your, I'm not saying you are. I'm just saying in general, you can't talk out of both sides of your mouth that you want them to do something, but you can, they're not going to make 3 moves and suddenly have 3 new starters in the lineup.
Right.
That's kind of that's the fine line that Matt Arnold's going to have to walk.
Let me just throw out a wild card thing here, and I know he's on the injury list, but could Rhys Hoskins be a potential guy that's on the move to try to get?
I don't think so,
back?
because I don't think you're going to probably deal him while he's like essentially injured.
Right.
Like, it's just that, and the way I kind of look at Hoskins is, I think the early thing everyone says, like, okay, maybe later August, and that's possible, but that's the front end of it. Remember, once you get to September 1st, extra roster spots,
that's right.
A couple extra roster spots come out there. Do you kind of let him take his time, because by that point he's going to be off for a while, a couple months. Do you give him that little bit extra time to get a good rehab stint in, really kind of get feeling good at the plate, and then suddenly September 1st rolls around and guess who's back? My feeling is, like, when it comes specifically to first base, like, Andrew Vaughn, I think, has earned the right to be the starter against lefties. I'm just not ready to say, like, okay, you know what, every single day, no matter what, this guy, because as great as these couple weeks have been, it's been a couple weeks. And when you look at and you see, when on TV when they've talked about, like, oh, he's driven in more runs than anyone in their first 6 games or whatever it was. And the guy that he was right there was with Brian Anderson. And we remember Brian Anderson started a couple years ago. He got out to a red hot start, and then by August or whatever it was, I think he was DFA'd for August or September. So, like, I just don't want I don't want this team to invest too much into 2 weeks, and then suddenly it's the second week of August, we're going, man, they really should have did something.
Do you feel like when Hoskins is back, that Bowers is probably the odd man out?
I think so.
Yeah.
At this point, I think so. Because it's just at this point, I think there's other people that are going to be able to do what he does better.
Mm-hmm.
As that kind of first baseman, but also a guy that plays a little bit corner outfield. He shouldn't, but that's just the nature of the beast.
Right.
But I think he probably would be.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, between if they bring in anybody, but even because even in that way, you can say, look, Andrew Vaughn's been better than Jake Bowers.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of what it comes down to.
Yep.
I don't think you can push Andrew Vaughn out of the way for Jake Bowers, given what Jake Bowers has produced.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, to me, this is where it's going to get really fascinating for me is if they do get that position player. Is it an infielder? Is it an outfielder? I mean, it feels like the easiest way would be to add an outfielder, because Blake Perkins is. I said this earlier this week. When Blake Perkins is in the outfield, I just feel warm and good inside. Like you feel like
nothing. If he can get to his and that's it. Like the way I view it with Blake Perkins, when he's in center.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing's getting over his head.
Yep.
And Jackson Churio he's made some good plays and stuff, but I just feel like he's better in left or right.
He looks way more comfortable confident. You can just kind of tell when it's like a can of corn and he's just kind of standing there. Where sometimes it's the outfielder, you're just a little bit more tense. You can kind of tell.
Yeah, I think there's just kind of that level of comfort with Perkins, and then kind of the offense, whatever he kind of gives you. And he's given them a fair amount so far, but that's not his game. His game is I'm going to play really good defense, and I'll be average to below average-ish offense. And look, that's valuable. I'm not saying that to be mean. That's valuable. But you just want that guy in center. And I mean, look, Garrett Mitchell was that guy too defensively, but he's not going to be back this year.
Right.
So
would the better, without throwing names out there, would the better upgrade be to say adding an outfielder, whether it's like a left fielder or center fielder, then you have Churio in left and this new center fielder, or a new left fielder, Churio in center, Sal Free, he's fine. He's going to be safe, right?
Yeah,
he's not going to lose his job. He's going to be right. Or is it essentially benching Caleb Durbin?
And that's the tough part. And this is part of the reason why I really like Willie Castro, because all those things you're asking, well, what if this? He can do all those things.
Mm-hmm.
He can play left. He can play. He probably wouldn't have to play right.
Right.
But he can play third. He can play short. He can play second. He can play 4 or 5 times a week just by hopping around to a different spot every time.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a great question, because I mean, you just look at how good Isaac Collins has been.
Yeah,
and it's tough. And it's tough for any of these guys to just say, "Look, I know you've been really good, but I mean, I included Suarez because, to me, he's that's the example of look, we know how good you've been, but I mean, it's anything to Suarez. Mm-hmm. Look at what this guy's doing. This guy can bring something to the table that we're not really getting in this lineup.
Mm-hmm.
And going back to May 18th, I mean, since May 18th, again, that's the day after the cribbage board gave away. Mm-hmm. That Sunday, Caleb Durbin's hitting 300, 379 on base.
Yeah.
He's been very good, similar to Isaac Collins. He's hitting 383 on base of 385.
And it feels like he's been so good with 2-out situations and runners in scoring position. And, I mean, the clutch hitting aspect of that.
Right. I mean, they've been 2 of arguably, the best players. I mean, you can look at Yelich. I mean, even Churio since then has done well. Sal Frelick. But, even since then, Joey Ortiz hitting 254, 311 on base. And you
take that any day of the week with Joey Ortiz offensively.
Yeah, that's roughly league average offensively by weighted runs created plus. But and that's the thing. He just got off to such a bad start that.
And the thing is too is it's shortstop. We can't do the Travis Shaw plug whatever at short.
You can't go with the goal line package just because the days of shifting are over. They were able to do that in part because they just knew, hey, we can shift and we can put guys in a better spot where their lack of range won't matter as much. That's not the case now.
Right.
You need even as much as I didn't like that just from a stylistic thing. My thing was always look, if they're shifting on you, beat it. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, one thing it has done is it has brought back the importance of athleticism with your infielders. And I think the Brewers are a very good example of that, where you look at their shortstop, their second base, and their third baseman, not very big guys, but they get the job done.
Yeah.
Defensively.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so
they cover a lot of ground.
It's exciting to see what they're going to do, but there's questions. How are you going to do it? How is this puzzle going to fit together?
Mm-hmm. And how can you continue this too?
Right.
I mean,
it's
because the advanced analytics say this offensive trend can't continue for the Brewers.
Yeah, they've been kind of hitting above their head a little bit, but generally a lot of analytics lean more towards power, and that's obviously, as we all know, that's been kind of the main negative about this team right now is they just don't hit a lot of home runs.
Yeah, it's funny because you look at the stats, they're like top 5 and runs scored, top 10 and hits or whatever. Then you look at home runs, it's like
that's the thing.
25th.
Yeah, that's kind of like just the one thing they don't do, and that's why it's important if you can to try to bring in
a lot of singles.
Yeah, exactly. Like, look, it's
because I think they're 24th in doubles too. So it's like you do the math.
Yeah, there's just not a lot of extra base hits. Like. It's one of those things, you don't want to build a whole team out of it. I mean, we've seen Brewers teams in the past that could hit home runs, but then if they weren't hitting home runs, they were in trouble.
Right.
But you need a little bit more of it. It's like a buffet. You kind of want a little bit of everything in the lineup. You want power, you want speed, you want contact.
Yep.
You want guys that are going to take the walks. Like, you can't build really a good offense of any of those 1 things, 1 through 9, but you combine it all together, you usually got something.
So with that, really quick, with the power, is it a little disappointing this year that Chiriot hasn't, because we had the the 30-30 season's going to come for Jackson Chiriot. Is it a little disappointing that maybe that power hasn't been there for Jackson Chiriot, or did we just set the bar so high for him in year 2?
I think I might have just set the bar high. I mean, he's got 16 home runs right now, so it's not like it's nothing. I mean, assuming he stays healthy, he's going to be in that mix of 20, 25, like. He can have a 25-25 season, which, remember, he's 21.
Right.
So, but I think it's just important to remember in sports, development is never linear. It's not like, well, he reached this threshold of 2020, so that means next year he should be 20-25 or 25-25, and then in 2 years from now he should be 30-30. Like, it doesn't develop that way. And while Jackson Chiriot, like, you'd like his on base percentage to be a little better, he's just not taking very many walks. Like, he's been out there every day, and once again, after a bit of a slow start, I mean, he's hitting 288 or whatever it is since May 18th. So it's like he's still being very productive.
Right.
Even if it's not, I mean, it's not kind of a big step forward, but I think it still is a step forward because you're still doing it at the major league level as a 21-year-old when most guys are in, like, AA.
Right. Longest active hitting streak right now, so.
I mean, he is still, remember, he's still younger than the Brewers' top draft pick this year.
That's a great way to put it in perspective.
By
there.
like a year or two.
Yeah. So the Brewers, in honor of the anniversary of AmFam Field / Miller Park, whatever, right? 25 years over there. They're doing a little bit of a alumni home run derby contest. So the now no Robin Yount or Paul Mahler or any of those guys. We're not talking that. I'm sorry, old. Don't know how else to say it. It's
not from that generation.
Not from that generation. Thank you. That's probably the better way to say it. But a little bit more of some recent players here, and even got little pitchers in here too. But here are your participants: Ryan Braun, Prince Fielder, Giovanni, yes, a pitcher, Carlos Gomez, Bill Hall. Is J.J. Hardy going to be in it too? Did I?
I don't think so.
I didn't think so either. But this website has him listed on it. Let me find a different one. That's why I was like a little surprised that.
Yeah, I'm just looking on the Brewers website itself, and
so do you have it up? Okay,
yeah,
okay.
They've got your captains you mentioned, Braun and Gomez. They're joined by Keon Broxton, Prince Fielder, Giovanni Gallardo, Bill Hall, Corey Hart, Casey McGee, Nigel Morgan, and Eric Thames.
Okay. Okay.
So 10 total.
So this one from MLB. So there's only 10 total?
That's what they've got. Because there's also many more that are going to be there.
I think there's this web, because MLB had Eric Sogard on the list too.
I think he's part of the group where there's many more that are there for like autographs and photos and stuff.
Okay.
They just got a bunch, because there's like Jose Hernandez and Dan Kolb, but those guys are there for like photos and autographs.
Okay, because that makes a lot more sense with that. So, but this is your list is on Brewers.com.
Yeah, it's actually on the There's just a little 25 seasons. It's basically the it's just the whatever the page is where you can buy tickets, which I don't think there's gonna be very many left. But
the link.
Yeah, the link. Yeah.
You millennial. Link web address. There we go. Okay,
ready
to do it?
Yeah.
We are going to rock paper scissors for. You were going to give me the first pick.
I was going to defer to you.
You were, but we'll do best of 3. 1, 2, 3, shoot.
And we're not doing snake style. We're doing back and forth.
Yes.
Because that way the person that wins actually gets the...
Yep.
Okay, so best of 3. Rock 1, 2, 3, shoot.
Yep. 1, 2, 3, shoot. I did not know this. Ed Cedars doing the pitching. That's even better.
Yeah.
So
I mean, come on. He's going to have to give the double wave.
He has to. He has to. All right.
1, 2, 3, shoot.
Shoots. 1, 2, 3, shoot. Ready?
Yep.
1, 2, 3, shoot. Son of a gun.
Paper beats rock, so I'm up 1-0. Okay. All right.
1, 2, 3, shoot. Son of a gun.
Paper
You
beats
slept.
rock again.
Dang it! I should have took you up on that.
He should have.
I'm not happy right now.
All right.
I'm not happy. I am not happy. All right.
All right. I'm gonna take the obvious one here. I'm gonna take Prince Fielder.
Oh, okay. That was not my number one
All
pick,
right.
so
All right.
I'm happy now.
All right. So
I
all's
am
well that
happy.
ends well. All right.
I am happy. All
right.
right. So my number one pick, Ryan Braun.
Yep. Okay. That was the other one I was thinking. He
was in the cage in L.A.
He really seems like he's gung ho about this.
Yep.
What he's done to get himself ready, we shall see. But I'm excited to see.
Yep. So
all right. So I'm up next.
I just got your text, by the way.
I am up next. I'm just going to assume he's still in the best shape. I'm going Eric Thames.
Okay.
I'm taking as many big beefy boys as I can here.
Right. I mean, that's not bad. I am going to go with the other captain, Carlos Gomez.
All right.
I'm going to go.
Okay.
So.
All right. Third pick for me. Looking around. You know what? I am going to go Giovanni Garrido.
I was wondering who was going to go with the pitcher. Okay.
Pitcher's
all right.
rake.
Respect that. I respect that. No, this one's tough.
It is.
I'm between two guys right now. I am going to go Corey Hart.
Okay. That's fair. All right, so we got 2 picks apiece left.
Mm-hmm. So just so everybody knows, these are the players that are left. Keon Broxton, Bill Hall, Casey McGee, and Niger Morgan.
I'm going to go Keon Broxton.
Okay. Well, then I will go with the guy that I was debating about, Casey McGee.
Okay. All right, so it's Hall or it is
Niger Morgan. And Hall's, I would think, the oldest of this group. So
yeah, I mean, yeah. I'm going to go Bill Hall.
Okay. I'm happy with Niger Morgan because there's some weird feeling that Tony Plush is going to come out and just absolutely rake in this. There's this weird feeling that I have that he's just going to come out and really, really take this serious. Now, I heard BA says, are they doing it from second base?
No.
Oh, they're not?
No, they are. This is
legit
from they're doing this from home plate. Because I think they had mentioned that they were not doing it from maybe that was even just during I think it might have been just during the road trip. So maybe it was Levering and
Tim Dillard.
Yeah, I don't know why Tim Dillard's had their name was
his head too. Yeah, that's
But those, I think they were saying no, this is they're legitimately doing from home plate. This is legit.
Wow. So let's do
this.
Another
Isn't
prediction.
Rock and Jock softball at the All-Star game.
Oh man! All right. So what's total number? What do you think is going to win at total?
So what's okay? Is this like the tiebreaker?
Yeah, sort of thing. Yeah.
So the winning total for the winner.
Yep.
Now I'm assuming there. I mean, is it just like the 10 outs? I don't even know the format, but
I think so.
Man, this is tough because I'm gonna go 8 because I think because it's not going to be like when they played. I just don't see anybody.
Right. Total 5. All right. I'll do a little Price is Right. I'm going to go 9.
You son of a gun.
I think 9. I'm going to go there. I'm confident that so I'm confident that Braun and Gogo for me are going to have at least 6 total.
Okay. Well, here's the thing too. We're already going down this rabbit hole, so I'm going to ask another. It doesn't even have to be a tiebreaker. Let's do the horse racing version of this.
Okay.
Win, play, show. First, second, third. Let's call who wins, who's second, who's third.
Okay. All right. So the overall winner.
Yeah.
Yep.
First, win, play, show.
Okay. Well, you're probably going to pick somebody on your team.
Oh, probably.
Yeah. So go for it. You still got first pick?
I'm saying Fielder wins.
Okay. I'm saying Braun wins.
I'm saying Braun is second.
The easy answer is Fielder. But here's the thing. Does he lay off a little bit?
And here's the thing, too. Like, when you want to win money at the horse track, like if you're betting the trifectas, the quadfectas, like you're not always just picking out the favorites because you don't win much money based on the odds. Like,
right.
So we gotta have a surprise in here somewhere, I think.
All right, second, I am going to go with Gomez.
Okay. And because I want to try to win a little money on this trifecta, I'm gonna say my show is Broxton.
Okay. My show is going to be Morgan.
Ooh, there we go. All right.
I'm writing my picks down, too, so I don't forget them.
Yeah.
So,
I'm going to be keeping score on them there tomorrow.
You have to.
Sending you trash talk via electronic telephone device.
Is that it, then?
I don't think there's really much else we can try to pick in this, so, yeah.
Do we want to pick a number, what the winner is going to have, their total? So, like Fielder, you have winning it. Do you want to put a line next to it?
No.
No? Okay. No. That's fine. That's fine, Brandon.
Okay, Dan. Dan, okay.
Okay.